Today's episode is an absolute treat because I'm not joined by one, not two, but three legal heavyweights from the dynamic world of corporate law and international tax. These gentlemen aren't just lawyers, they're architects of structure, strategy, and deal-making brilliance. First, we have Joost van den Berg, whose work in corporate law, mergers and acquisitions, and structuring has positioned him as a trusted advisor on some of the most intricate and high-value transactions in the field. Joining him is Willem Gerbers, with a deep understanding of cross-border mergers and international structuring. Willem helps clients navigate global complexity with clarity and confidence. And finally, we're joined by Timothy Van Veen, a dedicated expert in corporate law and transactional work. Tim's precise and pragmatic approach ensures that legal structures align seamlessly with business goals, making him an essential partner in both day-to-day counsel and high-stakes deals. Together, these three bring not only deep technical knowledge, but also a collaborative, solution-driven ethos that defines the HVK Stevens approach. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I just want to say that I'm very excited for this sit-down episode. This is the first time we have three guests on our show. So this is exciting. Let's dive right in.
Yeah.
How about we start with the story of HVK Stevens?
Yeah.
How did it come together to be a law and tax powerhouse?
Okay. Shall I take this one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Good morning. Thank you very much for interviewing us. HVK Stevens. Yeah. It's difficult to pronounce in English correctly, but you did it very well, Selma. HVK Stevens stands for the founding partners, the H, the V, and the K. And afterwards, Professor Stevens joined the firm as well. So that's where the name comes from. The abbreviation and the three first letters of the last names and one entire last name of Professor Stevens because he's the professor. The law firm started as a tax firm more than 10 years ago, about 12 years ago. And it was started by three partners. And they were all tax partners in one of the big four accountancy tax and accountancy firms here in the Netherlands. And they decided that it could be done in a different way as well. And they started HVK Stevens. A year after, a legal partner joined, a notary, Jan-Willem Schenk, and myself. And that is where we came to the combination of tax and law, and legal, I must say. And legal you must define as notarial law, not so much disputes and competition law. We can do that, but it's not our specialty. We believe strongly in the combination of tax and law and legal to make that an integrated service to our clients. And it proves to be a success. If we look around, we are very proud to be in this very nice building in Amsterdam. We also have an office in Rotterdam, a smaller one in Luxembourg, and a smaller one in...
Smaller one, but growing.
But growing, exactly. And a smaller firm in Curaçao, the Netherlands Antilles. We started with 5 people, and we're now 100 plus. So still growing, and also very excited.
And what makes it different from other firms in the Dutch and European legal market?
I think that is a twofold answer. One is because we do these two services and only. So it's the combination of tax and legal. That is not a very common combination in the Netherlands. I think we only have one competitor who does the same. Other firms also have other services, and we focus on these two. It is the connection we make with our clients. That's the second one. We believe that entrepreneurs, bigger families, companies, they like us because of our connection with them. We are very much involved. Involvement is a key word for us. We know exactly what they are doing. And we believe that we can do the business together with our clients. And that is where we stand out, I believe.
And how does the combining of legal and tax advice benefit the client?
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
No, you hear the answer already.
And I think that is also for me as a tax advisor, I think that was actually one of the reasons that I wanted to join this firm, because we had the combination tax and legal. And often tax is only a small part of a transaction that we do for a client. It often starts with tax, but the actual implementation of a transaction for your clients is, I think, much more important than the actual tax advice. And I think it is important as a firm that you not only advise on a transaction, but that you also take the responsibility for a correct implementation of the transaction that we handle for our clients.
Yeah, and once it has been implemented, we can also do the corporate maintenance part of it.
Yeah.
So once the structure stands, income tax filings, VAT issues, anything on tax, and almost anything on legal, we can do cross-border mergers, etc. And my background is actually more litigation at the time. I started with a bigger international firm, and also did 2 years at a trust service provider. That's a party that services the structures for international clients usually. That's more the day-to-day business, assisting with that. But since I have done that for 2 years as well, it comes in very handy to also seek solutions for clients that are struggling with that side of their vehicles, let's say, like that. And it comes in handy to have everything within one firm. So for the client and for us, because if a client comes with an issue, I can go to the VAT team, I can go to the corporate income tax team. With the notary, we can solve all kinds of issues. We can be very flexible in that, and because we do it so often, we can make it very interesting for the client as well.
And we also understand that you work with many clients and law firms in the Middle East, especially Egypt and the UAE.
Yeah.
How did this regional focus start?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I think that is one for you.
Yeah. Because it had to do something with one of my clients. Before joining HVK Stevens, I've worked in Luxembourg for many years. And one of my main clients in Luxembourg was Helios Investment Partners. I think they're a well-known name in the African market, because I think they are one of the biggest PE firms that is mainly focusing on the African market. And they are one of my clients, and they went with me when I moved over from my previous law firm to HVK Stevens. And one of their investments was in Fawry for banking, which I think 3 years ago went public in Egypt. And because they were the lead investor in Fawry for banking, they did the investment with a consortium of investors, but they were, let's say, the main shareholder in Fawry. They asked us to handle that IPO from, let's say, the Dutch and Luxembourg perspective. It was a little bit of a complicated structure, but for several reasons, the Egyptian company that went public was owned by a Dutch company, and the Dutch company again was owned by a Luxembourg company. And because we can offer the same service in the Netherlands as in Luxembourg, they asked us to handle the entire IPO and post-IPO steps that we had to do in the Netherlands and Luxembourg. Well, that was a very successful IPO, both for the company and for the investors. And they went public, I think, in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, we thought, okay, well, it was a nice transaction in Egypt, and that's it. And shortly thereafter, we started receiving phone calls from other investors and law firms that had similar investment structures, similar investments in Egypt, that also were considering an IPO in Egypt. And because, well, they saw that our name was mentioned in relation to the IPO of Fawry, they approached us whether we could assist them as well. We did one more IPO for Talim, which is also quite a well-known name in the Egyptian market. And since then, I think, Tim, you have been about 10 times to the region.
Around 3 years,
Yeah,
11 or
in
something.
3 years'
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I think that also demonstrates, I think what Willem already mentioned, that we really try to build a connection with our clients, and that we try to, wherever they are in the world, that we really want to meet them where they do their business and where they live, just to make sure that we understand our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to sit on the table. You need to go there. You need to, because if you set up structure somewhere abroad, in the end it's all about trust. And you can build that, of course, with mouth-to-mouth advertisement. But you have to be there. You have to see what the problems are. You have to, and then we can act as well. And we can fill our toolbox with anything which is needed to help out the client. And be responsive as well. So I've got I think 90% of the time everything's on WhatsApp or on calls and everything to accommodate ad hoc what the client needs. So that's the reason I'm actually flying in a few weeks again. It's good for my endeavor of becoming like half Egyptian.
You're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, I celebrated 2 iftars a few weeks ago, so was invited for that as well, which is a great experience as well, of course. And I love it. I was really pushing also towards Egypt because I've been interested my entire life in the history and anything and see it like the cradle of civilization. So there's also a very high key of interest myself, and I need to do a good job, otherwise I'm not allowed back in Egypt.
That's what it is, Tim.
Yeah.
And what other types of services do clients in Egypt usually seek from your firm? Other than IPO?
Well, yeah. So of course, there's it kind of depends on the phase of an endeavor of a company. So if it's a startup, then of course the money needs to be reserved for setting up, the company in Egypt to fast track it there. And once it grows, usually in Egypt, we hear at least that there needs to be often a Dutch structure on top. There are alternatives, of course, but it's very important to keep everything plain vanilla and low cost. It's just what it is, and since we do that often, we sort of make packages so that it's completely transparent. Everybody knows what they're at, and this is how we do let's say the startup phase. And it's very nice because if you see a startup grow, then they will seek new investors, and new investors then step into the structure at the Netherlands level. We assist that as well. We also assist corporates. Nowadays, since we're growing in the region, we also have high net worth individuals that have interest in specific vehicles we can offer, like an alternative to the Anglo-Saxon Trust. It's a special foundation, which is a legal entity, and it's the most flexible entity I've ever seen. But we have another partner in the firm who's dealing with that kind of transactions. But what I'm saying is that it's kind of broad. It sometimes comes even with bank accounts. It's difficult getting bank accounts. So, okay, fine. We're not selling bank accounts here, but we of course do have the connections. So, we have now established a connection with certain banks, and basically tapping in our KYC, or Know Your Client, which is also very important. And for us being there in Egypt, that makes life easy as well, because we see the clients, we can identify the persons, whoever need to sign. That KYC pack has value, of course, especially for the bank. And then banks will be they're opening bank accounts for Egyptian clients via us, basically. So that's a very important element. Existing structures often have problems with a little bit with fees going up. And we know all the alternatives. It's our business to know it. And this is elements we can really help out. Really.
And I think another reason that especially foreign investors into the Egyptian market are looking at the Netherlands is because for various reasons, and I'm sure you know as well, you're from Egypt, it is very difficult for foreign investors to invest directly in Egyptian companies. For one reason, because from I think if you want to increase capital in an Egyptian company, you need approval from central bank, which simply takes time to get, and in a lot of cases you don't have that time in a transaction. And that is also one of the reasons that a lot of foreign investors are looking for, let's say, an entry into the Egyptian market via a country outside of Egypt. And then, of course, they're looking for a jurisdiction that has, let's say, a stable legal framework that is typically tax neutral, and provides for, I think, flexibility in corporate governance. And I think that is where the Netherlands, but also Luxembourg, come in the picture.
I totally agree, Joost. But and in addition to that, I think also for the listeners or watchers, it's also very important to realize that yes, we try to do it all as efficient as possible, but quality is, of course, the most important thing in our job. We cannot make mistakes as lawyers. And that is sometimes that a structure costs a little bit more, but that also serves the purpose of high quality. We work in a very dedicated team in integrated services, closely together and with the client. And in our opinion, that minimizes the risk of poor quality. We want to be the highest and best professional there is. And that needs work constantly. That is also how we train our juniors. There is permanent education. There is always the hands-on and training in practice. We involve the juniors so that they can be trained and get the experience. But quality is important, especially if you talk about these kind of investments and startups. You cannot make mistakes.
Many law firms in the Middle East look for strong international partners. What makes, I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly this time, HVK Stevens?
Very well. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
An ideal fit.
Yeah.
It's the connection and the position the Netherlands has in the world. I think we are in Europe well placed between the bigger powers in the world as a jurisdiction. The Netherlands always focuses on being a very international and open-minded country, and also the jurisdiction in that respect shows that. I think we have good connections with everyone around, for your clients, I think it is good to realize that HVK Stevens has a good network, very well placed all over the world. And we put effort in that. That means that we visit and visit our partners all around the world to make sure that we have that connection and network always up to date. I think what you should realize is that we are not a firm with offices all over the world. We focus on what we do and what we can do best, but for all the others, we have our network in place. And our network partners are very important in that respect.
And I think what is also important to mention is that we're not part of a network, of a formal network. We don't have any exclusive partnerships with any law firms, and we do that on purpose because that allows us to choose basically any other law firm in any jurisdiction just to make sure that our client gets the best service that he needs at that moment.
To stay independent.
So that we're not forced to work with a specific law firm in another jurisdiction. We can in principle choose any law firm that we believe is the best fit for our client.
And if you're now looking at the gray hair you're facing here, over the years we have made a lot of connections all around the world. Joost and I and also Tim have worked around the world internationally quite a long time already. And from that we have gained very valuable connections and friendships with lawyers all around the world.
Yeah, and the law firms that we engage with or reach out to us, their response is usually, and that's what I'm personally also very much trying to accommodate, is responsiveness. If you're doing transactions, you have something which needs to be handled. I don't care. It's Signal, WhatsApp, or email, whatever. Call me. It's fine. If I don't sleep, you'll get a response. But it means that you, as the lawyer doing the transaction, can move up. Yeah, that's probably one of the law firms.
Sorry about that. No, but responsiveness, and then the senior is talking. Again, to emphasize quality, but also confidentiality is something which, as a lawyer, is very important. We have sophisticated security systems around WhatsApp, Signal, etc. We find that important. Nowadays, it's more and more difficult to communicate confidential, and that is what we, as our IT department, takes care of that. Of course, I'm not worried if Tim is called in the middle of the night and that he responds, because that I like, because that is very commercial and that's very good. But you have to be careful on the communication systems as well, and those are very safeguarded here at HVK Stevens as well. So information is always safe.
How about the culture dynamic? Well, how does that work when it comes to working with law firms in the Middle East?
I think there's Tim. Tim is our special.
He's half Egyptian, as you already mentioned.
No, yeah, but half of my family lives also in Dubai and the region, so it fits you, or it really fits me. I like it, and it's also what I like is that we also have like partners that have more US clients. It's different dynamics, and especially if you look at Egypt, it's an upcoming market. There's a lot of professionals. There's a high appetite, but sometimes also you need to be a little bit more pragmatic. So there's like multiple manners on how you could come to structuring or conclusion, whatever, and you can do it very difficult route and a very high price route, and it's like the royal path. But if you can find the better alternative, which is more pragmatic with the same result, it has to be, at least it has to be proposed to the client to take a sound decision on whether or not to take it. And I see that the pragmatic approach is often quite, people like it as well in the region. It's a really different approach than the US often has. But again, we service all kinds of clients. But for me, the MENA region suits best. But I help all clients, but this is where my focus is. And I'm 100% dedicated for it.
What trends are you seeing in cross-border legal work, especially between Europe and the Middle East?
Trends.
Well, trends also kind of depends on a local atmosphere. So, for instance, if you look at Dubai, they're introducing all these kinds of tax laws, and that triggers many people that want to sort of move out or understand what's happening. If you look at other jurisdictions, they can be grey listed, which means that it will be very difficult to track money from bigger institutionals. These are very important topics for a possible a company that wants to attract money from the market needs to take that into account. And the Netherlands is actually always stable. So it's like we see it like a sort of safe haven to come to the Netherlands and build your structure here, because nothing has changed for many years, and it's not coming up for the next few years. And with now Trump in the US being the president, probably nothing will happen for the next 8 years.
I think one of the specific trends that we do see is that the Saudi market is becoming much more active.
Yes.
Both for, let's say, inbound investments into the Saudi market, because we see a lot of our Egyptian clients that are looking to expand their business into the Saudi market, but also the other way around.
Yeah.
where there is a lot of there is a lot of money available in the Saudi market, that they're looking for opportunities outside of the Saudi market also to sort of diversify their local economy and invest abroad. So we do get a lot of requests from Saudi-based investors, to see whether the Netherlands or Luxembourg could be a good hub for them to structure their investments outside of the
Yeah, you
Saudi
often
market.
see that there also there's like investment within the region, and it makes sense then often to just keep it there. But if you look at a lot of corporates or high net worth individuals, they want to spread their risk. So then it would make sense to also use either Netherlands or Luxembourg because of the stable environment to set up your holding entity there and basically use it as asset protection for that part of your structure or of your wealth or anything. So the trends are. This is a trend, the KSA especially, of course, and we see, of course, the Dubai that rather than going there, clients often choose the Netherlands as well. And then still, the holding entity can still run, of course, set up entities wherever. There's nothing here. We don't have authorities that need a stamp or whatever. It's completely flexible. And that makes life for a lot of clients quite nice.
And what do you hope to see more of in the legal cooperation between your firm and law firms in the Middle East?
Yeah, well, we're building that business. We're going there. I'm usually one or twice a year in Dubai, and of course Dubai, Abu Dhabi is an hour drive. And we just first have to establish all these relationships. And then once that happens, then organically it will grow, and there's of course mouth-to-mouth advertisements. And but what we hope, of course, is to further build that out and gain the trust of these law firms and clients that they will opt for us, because of course there are alternatives here. But we just want to be the preferred party for them.
Yeah, build new friendships.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Well, that's a great statement to be at the end of our interview.
Yeah,
Honestly, thank you so much.